Hi, once again, everybody. It's that time again for another edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. We appreciate you tuning in on whatever platform you might be on. The weather here in Las Vegas is getting a little bit better, not quite as cold. You can actually play some golf, which I would love to do. I'm leaving Tuesday for the big PGA Merchandise Show, as I go every year in Orlando. I'm looking forward to that, seeing all the latest and greatest new equipment and all the golf accessories, seeing old friends, making new friends, doing some interviews, and I look forward to it. It's a lot of fun, We got a great show for you today. We have a gentleman on that I had on a while back, so it's a great chance to catch up with him. And let me tell you a little bit about our special guest. Henry Brunton is globally recognized for his teaching abilities and his contributions to the game of golf. He is a member of both the PGA of America and the Canadian PGA. Henry was inducted into the PGA of Ontario's Hall of Fame, and of course that is in Canada, as you know. He is the creator of Canada's Teaching and Coaching Certification Program. He is also an author of a great book that you should have called Journey to Excellence. We'll talk about that a little bit. He is the first Canadian listed in Golf Magazine's Top 100 Teachers and U.S. Kids' Top 50 Kids Teacher. So that'll give you an idea of his ability, and he's a terrific guy. I look forward to seeing him at the PGA show myself. So without further ado, let's bring Henry on to the show. Henry, thanks so much for coming on. You said you're at Lake Nona, where the women's event is taking place right now. So I kind of envy you, and looks like you got pretty good weather there.
Yeah, hi Dennis, great to be with you. Yeah, the weather's turned to be nice today. It's forecast to be quite cold for the weekend, but today's a beautiful day, good day for scoring. So magnificent venue for this event.
Good. So enjoy it while you can. Let me start off and ask you this, Henry. Do you think most weekend players, weekend amateur players, of course, practice wrong? And if they do, why do you think they practice wrong? What suggestion do you give to your students when it comes to practicing when they're not with you?
Well, I think that for sure most people can learn to practice more effectively, and most people just haven't had the time to maybe be coached on how to practice effectively. First of all, if you're looking to lower your scores, and Dennis, you know this so well, clean things up inside 30 yards, develop a much more reliable short game that mitigates errors. Most golfers make far too many errors inside 30 yards. So just cleaning up the errors and then learning to have just a variety of shots that they can go to given a situation that aren't fancy, to get the job done. You'll end up making hopefully one or more pars per nine. That'll bring your score down a lot. So that's a great way to practice those shots inside 30 yards. And then with the tee shot, that's the number one skill in golf by a mile. Most golfers just don't take the time to get the reps in and to make sure that they're thinking like they are on the golf course. Instead of just raking and hitting the ball, to kind of pretend they're on a golf hole and hit shots and just get more and more confidence through that.
Right. I agree with you totally. And, you know, you kind of hit on something I was going to ask you a little bit later, but I might as well get to it now. What part of the golf game, Henry, do you think is the real scoring part of the game? I think it's a short game. Some people may say it's the tee shots and stuff. And, you know, it's all important. But what do you think is the real scoring part of the game?
Well, again, if we assume that people can drive the ball into play reasonably for their handicap level, that's a big assumption. But if they can, then we know from research that the last two shots on any hole are the most important shots.
Yeah.
We know that from research. But you must drive the ball consistently into play and have not more errors than you're supposed to have for your handicap. If you can do that, then it's the last two shots. And as we know from playing with people and watching them play, Most golfers get sucked into hitting at tuck pins. They have a
Yeah.
romantic idea how far they carry the golf ball, so they're constantly under clubbing. And then, of course, around the greens, they tend to try to be too fancy rather than just being very efficient with their short games.
Yeah, well said. Do you find that most of your students overestimate their ability? So, how
Oh,
far do you hit a 7 iron? Oh, 160 yards, that type of thing.
yeah, they do. People, we're all golfers. We all love it. We all have those romantic visions of our best days. So we use TrackMan in a lot of our coaching to measure, how
Yeah,
far the ball's being hit and all that sort of thing. And I'll ask people, I'll say, "Hey, Dennis, how far? What do you fly from 150 to the middle of a green?" And you'll give me a response. And then I'll say, "Can you hit that over the water, 150?" And then, of course, they change their answer. And typically, it's very normal that people are 15 yards at least carry yardage. They're exaggerating how far they really hit it. So it's
yeah,
if they learn how far they hit the ball and then play to those numbers, they're going
right,
to play better golf.
right, exactly right. Henry, you've given countless lessons to weekend players. What is the one thing they think is the reason they are not getting much better?
Well, people think they're not getting much better because they're looking at the game in one big chunk rather than looking at the different components. They're not able in most cases to sort of dissect their games and say, okay,
Right,
my putting inside 8 feet is,
right,
an 8 out of 10. My lag putting is a 2 out of 10. I'm a horrible chipper. I'm a quite a solid driver of the golf ball, etc. So they're looking at the game as one big chunk rather than looking at all the component pieces. And as a result, instead of playing to their strengths, knowing what their strengths are and playing to them, they're constantly only focusing on their weaknesses, which is okay to do that to some extent, but they get into a cycle of negativity and their game goes the wrong direction.
absolutely, absolutely. Well said again. Henry, what reason do most of your students come to see you for, do you think?
Well, I mean, it varies. I have elite high performance juniors that are trying to get to the college level and dream of the pro game. That's one sect of the people that I support here in Florida at our high performance academy. But regular people that come to see me, I think they're looking to get, they'll tell us to be more consistent, to have
Yeah,
less
yeah,
variance in their
yeah.
game, to have more confidence, and of course to hit it more solidly and hit it farther. That's really what they're looking for.
Why is it so damn hard to really stay consistent? You see that on the tour, a guy go out and shoot 65 the first round, who shoots 73 the second round, same course, same club, same whatever. What is there about staying consistent that is so elusive?
Well, there's no such thing as a consistent golfer. We know that even all the top players, everybody that plays golf seriously and plays regularly, they're going to have at least a 10 shot variance between their very best scores and their worst scores, and often more than that. People
Yeah,
just have to understand there's going to be variance and learn how to play smarter golf when they're not hitting at their best to score better, not hit shots they're not hitting that particular day, and letting go of the bad shots so that they can play the game that day as well as they can.
right.
But there's no such thing as a consistent golfer. There are golfers that give the illusion of consistency because they have razor sharp short games and great attitudes and the ability to focus.
Mm-hmm.
But even the world's best have ups and downs. We saw Dustin
Yeah.
Johnson a couple of years ago shoot, believe it or not, 2 rounds in a row of 80 or more.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Personally, would you rather have really good swing mechanics as opposed to having a really good mental game, course management? What do you think would serve the average player better?
Well, people need to have solid fundamentals and
Yeah.
reasonably effective delivery patterns of the club head. Without those, you just can't play well enough. You can't play your best. You can't get the ball flight you're capable of. But again, when people have those reasonably in place, then of course there's so much to learn and to teach on the golf course with the decision training,
Yeah.
the ability to calm themselves down, to play in the present, to stop thinking about their score the entire time, and to really understand that it's a game of You live in Vegas. It's a game of cards. You got to play the odds all the time. Hit the right
Right.
shots to the
Right.
right targets. Stop looking for the miracle shots.
True. That's very good, great piece of advice. Depending on the teacher, and I talk to a lot of them, as you know, some are very keen on giving playing lessons. Others aren't so keen on giving playing lessons. How do you see it?
Well, there's no better place to learn the game than on the golf course. There's no other sport that doesn't work on their game on their field of play. So if you have
Yeah.
the ability to do that, and I'm blessed, I'm at Royal St. Cloud Golf Links in St. Cloud, Florida, and we've got great leadership at our club with PGA professionals who allow us and let us have the opportunity to take our students out there whenever it's reasonable to do that. That's the best place to do it, to get real situations, whether it's working on short game, green reading, hitting
Right.
into green, all the things. That's the best place to learn, the best place to develop. But I realize that's not possible for many people, but there's no question that is the ideal place to be when we're working on performance skills and transferring it to the real environment, which of course is
Right.
the golf course.
Yeah, because you're doing it in real time, and you're right there, and you've got to perform. You've got a variety of shots. That's absolutely right. Henry, stay right there. We're going to step away and take a real short break. When we come back, we will have more with our very special guest, Hall of Famer, Canadian Hall of Famer, Henry Brunton. Back right after this.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, we are back, everybody, for more of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. I'm a start of a great discussion with PGA Master Teaching Professional Henry Brunton. Henry, you operate 3 golf academies, one in Canada, one in Orange County in Southern California, and one in Florida. Why did you hone in on those 3 particular locations? What was appealing to you about that?
Well, first of all, I'm a Canadian, and I've had our golf academy at Eagles Nest Golf Club in Metro Toronto for
Long
20
time.
years.
Yeah.
And we love it. It's a great, wonderful facility, and we're so blessed to be teaching and coaching there. That's primarily our summer home. We have coaches that teach indoors during the off season, and then we expanded in 2015 to Orange County, California, at Strawberry Farms Golf Club, and we love that facility. We have 7 full-time coaches. We have a tremendous a junior program, local junior program. We teach adults. We just love helping people enjoy the game more and play better. So that's a robust academy. And here in Florida, in Orlando, we look at it with two different prongs. We have our high performance residential academy where athletes come and live with my wife and I, and we train them and coach them every day throughout the season, through the winter season. And then we have regular programming, lessons, and golf schools and such for everyday golfers at Royal St. Cloud Golf Links. And it's a great public facility, and we're so delighted to be there.
No, that's great. I didn't know. That's very interesting. Is your wife a really good cook? Because if she is, I may come down and live with you for a while and take some
Well, yeah,
lessons.
you need to come and visit. She's not only a great cook, she posts all of the food that we serve the players. People like to watch what she's cooking for the players, but the reality is she cooks with her golf club. She's a wonderful player. She's a great coach and a wonderful player. She's been to LPGA Tour School. She's been a section player of the year in Canada, and she loves the game, and we love playing golf together.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, let me ask you this. Your opinion about rolling back the golf ball, Henry?
Well, my opinion is that the best players are going to be the longest hitters no matter what.
Right.
The best players, the top players, are going to figure out a way to hit the ball as far as they can and max out and get stronger. It's higher, faster, stronger, as we all know. I just think that we need to be thinking about the regular people that play golf and enjoy it. And I don't think there's anyone that wants to hit it shorter. I don't think there's anyone that wants to feel that way. So I think that the governing bodies have a phenomenally difficult challenge with dealing with all these moving pieces. And we see that, we have so many good young players. I have a young player here at our academy in Florida. He hits the ball, Dennis, 350 yards almost every time. How do you make golf courses long enough for these elite players? It just, so I realize there's all that, and he's not alone. That's that's sort of the rule rather than the exception for top kids. So, how long can you make the golf courses? So it's a big challenge. My personal thing, and again, I don't have any say in this or any leadership, but I just thought if they kept the golf ball the same and gave the elite players, the NCAA players, the professionally touring professionals of all calibers, give them a choice of pick a number, 8 different driver heads that they can use. And they have to use those driver heads. That way they can get the spin up on the golf ball, keep it at a reasonable distance. It isn't, crazy. And then the golf courses will not be obsolete. And then the regular people can just play with regular clubs. And if they want to play with the pros clubs, they can bang their head against that wall. But that way I think that's something, I don't know if they thought of that. I'm sure they probably have, but I just thought that would be an easier way to do it. Kind of like the baseball bat and, the aluminum bat, wooden bat, but right now the elite players are it's just bizarre how far they can hit it.
It's just absolutely incredible. I've talked to a lot of people about it. Most don't like the idea. And, when you go out to a tournament, you love living vicariously through these guys, watching them hit the ball, so darn far. And that's what these guys will tell you. I've trained all my life, to get the right muscles and gear to be able to hit it far. And now you're, trying to take that away from me a little bit. And of course, it's going to hurt the amateurs much more, as you said, than the professionals. They're still going to find a way to, to get it out there. And I think, all right, have one ball for the tour and let the amateurs play what the hell they want to let them enjoy the game. Like you said,
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to hit it shorter, Henry.
Nobody does. Nobody does.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. All right, let me ask you this. Your views on the LIV Tour. As you may or may not know, the LIV Tour is having, coming to Las Vegas, Super Bowl week. They're playing at Las Vegas Country Club, and they got a pretty good field. I'm going to be doing some interviews. What's your view on the LIV Tour? Where it's been, where it's going? Is it here to stay? Are they going to get together with the PGA Tour someday, get an agreement going, maybe do some events together? What would you like to see?
Well, I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm a fan like the rest of the people on the call or on the show. I mean, I'm just watching it peripherally. I think what we're seeing is that the old golden rule: people have the gold, make the rules. they have so much money, so many resources. They're super committed to it. They're just going to, they're likely going to keep buying the marquee players. They're going to,
Yeah.
whether we like it or not, own the sport. For all of us that grew up watching the PGA Tour, and that's our tour, I think we've seen the best days behind us. We'll see. I'm sure there's going to be a deal on some level. What that looks like, I guess we'll find out soon. Maybe we hope that it'll be for the best down the road. But I
Yeah.
think ultimately what we'll see is a world tour with 16 or more events, plus the majors that the top 50 or so players are going to play. So there's going to be so much money at the top, basketball money, if you will. And then, unfortunately, the other 350 or so players who play around the world and make a great living right now are going to be fighting for a lot less money than they are now. It's going to change the whole development curve. I think it's going to be a real upheaval in the sport.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think they are going to get to some kind of an agreement. I'm sure nobody exactly knows, but, better sooner than later so we get all of this ironed out. Is it starting to rain there? Am I seeing raindrops?
Just sprinkling, just a tiny sprinkle.
Oh boy, I wish I had an umbrella to hand to you through the screen. I don't want to.
It's not bad.
I don't want
It's
you
not
to get too wet. One of the things that I find fascinating, Henry, and I like asking top elite teachers like yourself, when somebody learns how to play the game for some unknown reason, when they develop their swing and start playing a little bit, one facet of the game always seems to come to the forefront. Somebody's learning the game, they're for some reason have a terrific touch or a great short game player, or they hit their tee ball really well all the time. Why do you think that is, and why can't they translate that through their whole game?
Well, it's very interesting, isn't it? I say that golf is not one game; it's a game of many games, kind of like the decathlon. You've got, greenside sand blade, chipping, pitching, fairway medals, iron play, et cetera, et cetera. So many different facets, and just like in the decathlon, some people will score a lot more points in some of the different games, and I think that's the same in golf. And I think that a lot of times, not only is it somewhat inherent where they seem to be better at certain things, but they typically will have practiced those skills more, and they've neglected the steeplechase, if you will. And they tend to, when they have limited practice time, not to go to those painful areas because they know they're not good at them. So they try to play around that. They try to play around that on the golf course.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. But I just find that fascinating. Guy says, "Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm a real good putter." And I haven't been playing the game that long. I don't know whether it's a DNA or in their whatever the hell it is. It's fascinating. Anyway, stand by again. I got a hard break to take, and hopefully somebody might hand you an umbrella. We'll come back right after this. A lot more with Henry Brunton. We're coming back. Stay with us. One of the perks about being in golf media is that I get to try every club ever made. Of course, like most things, some are better than others. I'm here to tell you that I have found unquestionably the absolute best performing set of irons I have ever played, and my scores show it. Let me introduce you to Grindworks, custom fitted irons that are made to fit your game. Grindworks offers players 3 different styles of irons. You can choose muscle back irons, cavity back irons, and even blades, along with some awesome wedges. And when you purchase your clubs, Grindworks lets you choose the type of shaft you want, the type grip you prefer, and even will adjust the loft and lie of your clubs if needed. That's unheard of. So what are you waiting for? Feel the power and experience and performance of these amazing clubs. Simply go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046 to order. Trust me, your handicap will love you for it. All right, we are back, everybody. Having a great discussion with one of the real elite top golf teachers in the game, Mr. Henry Brunton. Henry, at what point in a person's golf career, for lack of a better term, should they possibly consider getting golf clubs that are fitted?
Well, as soon as people have established reasonable fundamentals and have the ability to be a golfer, to go to a golf course and play 9 or 18 holes and get the ball around and are reasonably competent, they should, use the advice and guidance of a really good PGA teaching professional, LPGA teaching professional, and get equipment that is well suited to them. It doesn't mean they have to spend a lot of money.
Right.
It doesn't mean they have to go over the top, but they need to make sure that the length of the clubs, the weight of the clubs, the proper lie angles, the proper shaft flexes, those are all incredibly important pieces of the puzzle. And if you do that, it accelerates learning and, of course, enhances enjoyment. If you don't have those things in place, you start to make compensating moves in your golf swing, in your game, to make the clubs work, and that's not what we want to have happen. But I would encourage people, if they haven't already done so, find that excellent specialized teacher in your local area that has a reputation for being a golf Sherpa, if you will, helping people, yes, learn the game, yes, have good swing and fundamentals, but also to guide them with getting the right equipment and when to upgrade it, when not to, and to support their journey, if you will.
Do you get involved in club fitting at all with your people, Henry?
Absolutely. It's a huge piece of our puzzle. We're partners with Titleist in Canada as part of the National Fitting Center at Eagle's Nest. It's a phenomenal facility. We've got access to all the latest and greatest. And at our academies in Orlando and California, we have all the brands, and we specialize in making sure just that we take good care of our people to get the right clubs. As you may or may not know, folks, the golf professional is not making much money selling golf clubs. It's as the retailer, it's really a service. We're just trying to help people get the right clubs in their hands. And if you find the right person to help you, the equipment is magnificent, but it's got to fit you.
Yeah, they don't make bad golf clubs anymore, and that's really great. That's great. That's a very nice amenity that you have to your academies, and that's very, very important. So I guess we talked about you're going to the PGA show. We're going to meet. I can't promise you that they're going to serve Molson at the bar, and I love Molson, which is a great Canadian beer. So you're going to be looking at all of the new stuff. What do you like to do when you go to the show, Henry? What do you specifically like about it?
I love to meet and with people like yourself, Dennis, people that are in the game, that are finding out what's new, what's happening, the new trends. Of course, I want to see the new products that are out there, the new training aids, be open to new possibilities. And there's so much positive energy and with the game right now. I just want to see where it's going. I haven't been there since COVID, so I'm excited to get back to the show. I love it.
Yeah, good. That's great. And like I said, I really look forward to meeting up with you. What do you think about training aids now that you've brought it up? Some teachers put a whole lot of stock into them. Others are so-so on them. I think there's a few good ones on the market. I think most are, I don't know. How do you look at it? Do you use those in your lessons?
There are some tremendously good training aids that help people understand a concept or get a feel. But they shouldn't be used in a motor learning context to hit repetitiously with them to build a program. We know that, hey, use them a few times to get the feel, get the idea, get the concept, and then get off your golf club and hit golf shots with the same idea. So people have to be careful because, to your point, Dennis, if people get too reliant on a training aid, they have a negative shift with their learning and their performance. But excellent training aids can really help people get the concept, get the feel, and then they can blend that into their game, into their swing. So yeah, the good ones are really good, but people sometimes, like anything else, take it too far, and they have people hitting hundreds and hundreds of balls with a training tool, and then at the end of the day, there's a negative learning correlation to that.
You, as I mentioned at the top of the show, you're rated as a top 50 instructor for U.S. kids, which is fantastic. What's the hardest part about teaching kids, Henry?
Managing their parents.
I love it.
And
I knew you were
that
going to say that.
Yeah, I mean that with all due respect. Of course, parents love their children and they're supporting their children in a lifetime game like golf. It's phenomenal. but people just haven't taken the time to understand how this sport works and the principles of long-term development
Yeah.
and early specialization, the negatives of all those things. If they take their time to say, put their children in the hands of a really high quality PGA or LPGA teaching professional, let the child love the sport. They're going to develop interpersonal skills. They're going to develop all the positive character traits we're looking for in society. And at the end of the day, they're going to be lifetime golfers. And who knows, maybe there'll be someone that's out here at Lake Nona on the LPGA Tour or at Bay Hill later on this year at the Arnold Palmer. But that's so unlikely. Just let them play, let them love it, and it's forever if we get it right. It's forever if we get it right.
What is the right age where a child should start taking lessons? You could be too young, obviously. What do you think is the right age?
Well, again, there's a chronological age and there's a biological age, but to keep it simple, somewhere around the age of 6, children have the dexterity, the attention span, etc., to be in a child-appropriate golf environment. We see that all the time at our academies. We can get incredible fundamentals and skills built at that early age. And of course, as they grow and mature physically and emotionally and cognitively, you can ramp it up. But yeah, getting them involved to make golf a fun place where they build those basic skills early on. They're great mimics, and boy, you can see young children with beautiful little golf swings early. And then, of course, you sprinkle in the rules of golf and the history of the game and learning the playing skills. Get them on a golf course with a PGA Pro. It's magic when that happens.
Yeah, it is. And they become golfers for life and contribute to the game, which is really what it's all about. So what is the process you use? This is gonna be kind of a long-winded question. When you hire instructors for your academies, do you kind of vet them and make sure that they're all kind of on the same page as you are as it relates to swing philosophy?
Well, number one, whenever we bring people on our team, we want to make sure that it's a good fit for them personally, because we want them to succeed and excel, and of course we want our team to grow and continue to achieve things. So first of all, we want to make sure they love the game and they love infusing enthusiasm to others who are learning the game. That's the most important thing. If they show they love it and want to give people that passion through teaching and coaching, that's enormously important. And then we keep our approach to teaching and coaching is it's fundamentals first. We want to make sure people are focused on learning good, solid fundamentals, getting strong concepts for all the skills so they know what that should look like, how they should do it, and keeping it simple, not getting too technically detailed into the deep minutia. So yeah, we use video, we use TrackMan, but we want people to be athletic in their approach to learning the game and let the coaches just guide the process. So that's really what we do is we want to find people that are committed, they love the sport, and they just want to move the game forward like we all do.
Yeah. I find it fascinating, Henry, that over the last several decades, there have been numerous swing philosophies that have developed, all with the same intent, and that is hitting the golf ball, hopefully in the middle with a square face. Why do you think so many swing philosophies have developed over the last 2 or 3 decades?
Well, Dennis, and you know a lot of our friends and colleagues, there's a lot of pressure on people to show that they're different than the rest, to try to charge higher fees. They have to have a story to sell. They're well-intended, and sometimes they just get in love with their own ideas and haven't thought through it by, as a sports scientist would. So you see people just that they get their own ideas, and that's all well and good, and typically they get too far from the center. This game really hasn't changed since the early days. If people get solid fundamentals and strong concepts and clarity about how to deliver a club effectively, and then learn how to play the game by keeping themselves calm on the golf course, good thoughts, playing all the things we know, and managing the golf course, that's how you play the sport. And sometimes people have gotten into a rabbit hole where it's all about the deep minutia of how to swing. And my God, sometimes, Dennis, you know this at the PGA show, you get people that are talking a language that we don't even understand, with all these words that they've come up with and all these new things that they're trying to espouse. And again, God bless them, they're trying their best, but regular people just don't benefit from that, in my opinion.
Well, that's why, don't you think, Henry, do you agree with me that I think most amateurs, most weekend players who love the game overcompensate their golf swings unnecessarily?
Absolutely, yeah, and they're making it more difficult than it needs
Yeah,
to be.
right,
They've been conditioned. They've been conditioned by the golf industry to go
right,
internal. That means that they turn their attention on how to move their bodies and how to make all these different moves that just should
right.
happen naturally. If you're focused on getting into a good starting position,
Yeah,
delivering the club squarely with power, all that magic just happens. And
right.
they somehow lose all that, and they rob themselves of their natural athleticism, and they play far worse than they should be playing.
Yeah, yeah. I could not agree more. All right, before I let you go, because I don't want you to stay any more in the rain and stuff, I want you to get back to the watching the tournament. Uh, who's the next Mike Weir in Canada? Who do you know of? What are we going to see from Canadian golf here in the near future?
Well, I'm not the national coach anymore. I'm not involved on a day-to-day basis. I haven't been for some time. Um, we've had a phenomenal run in Canada with all of these great young players. They're still kids to me that were on those teams that I coached all those years ago, and there's such a plethora of players on the PGA Tour. And I'm here watching the great Brooke Henderson this afternoon.
Yeah,
I'm not sure who the next Canadian will be. We'll have to wait and find out. It's a development process. If you would have told me, years ago who these players were on that are currently on the PGA Tour, they weren't. Most of them were not the ones people were picking. So it's
right,
a
right.
long-term process.
Yeah,
The best sort themselves out later.
yeah,
There is a young Canadian. His name is Miles Creighton. He's from Atlantic Canada. He's got a lot of ability. He's still on the radar. He's on the Corn Ferry Tour. I see him coming up, but again, he'll have to prove it, and time will tell.
yeah. Time will tell. It's a tough gig. It's a tough road. There's no guarantees, as you well know. As you well know. Anyway, Henry, I'll let you go. I can't thank you enough for your time coming on the show. Always great, and I really look forward to seeing you at the show and kind of catching up more. You're absolutely a credit to the game, whether it's the PGA of America or the Canadian PGA. And we're going to catch up and thank you again. And we're going to make sure we get you back on sooner than later, my friend.
Dennis, it's a pleasure and an honor. I look forward to seeing you next week, and safe travels.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to send your wife some recipes in case I do end up at your house and taking a few lessons. And I hope I get a media rate from you, Henry.
You're going to get it, baby.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you in a couple of days. Thank you. Henry
See you
Brunton,
soon.
everybody. Just a great guy and a great teacher. All right, we're going to take our final break, and we are going to also have our golf minute that we're going to show you that's going to help you. It helped me improve your game, hopefully. So we'll be right back to close the show. Hi, I'm Dennis Silvers, host of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers, and I'm here to tell you about some great wedges and putters from Grindworks USA. First, the Grindworks Barrett Collection Wedge Set. These wedges are unparalleled in today's market. The wedges come to you in 3 different lofts, 51, 57, and 61 degrees, all designed to be able to spin around the greens with the ability to hit high, middle, or low shots around the greens. Grindworks also makes a line of their Windsor Wells Precision Machine putters. This beautiful design of putter was not only created to be appealing to the eye, but to perform better on the greens. You will gain a ton of confidence to help lower your scores. Go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046. I promise your scores will love you for it.
Hi, I'm Dennis Silvers here for 8 News Now with another Golf Minute. We are at Eagle Crest in Sun City, Summerlin here in Las Vegas, and I'm with longtime teaching professional Tom Utzler. Tom, every golfer that plays a round of golf is faced with this shot, trying to get the ball up and down from the fringe just off the green. What's your advice to help them do that, to make this shot easier?
Okay, Dennis, I'm going to walk in from behind the ball and find an intermediate target where I want this ball to land on the green. I set up with the ball slightly back in my stance. I've got my hands a little forward, de-lofting the club face. I'm going to take it back slowly and then turn my body. Wow, Dennis, this Grindworks wedge feels great.
Tom, that was great advice. You've got some real talent, man. If I could do that, my scores would just bottom out. For the Golf Minute, I'm Dennis Silvers. We'll see you back next time.
All right, welcome back. Tom is a very, very good teacher and a good guy. Going to be in Orlando, Florida next week for the show. We're going to try to get a show to you from there possibly. But if we don't, you know why. You know why. So anyway, we hope you get a chance to get out and play some golf where you are living. Hope the weather is good. And we'll see you back, same place, same time when we get back. So until then, so long, everybody. Keep it in the short stuff.